Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Hunt, and today we're going to be going over our Unit 10 Measuring and Modeling Lesson 1 and 2, our practice worksheet on perimeter and circumference. So let's take a look at the sheet right here. Whether you are working on the printed page or a lined or separate sheet of paper, no worries, just write your work down and let's get started. So number 1 says a chicken coop is being made in the shape shown below with the dimensions shown. If fencing must be placed on each side of the pen and it costs $2.50 per foot, how much will it cost to enclose this pen? And we want to show our work. Okay, so basically we have a couple missing pieces. So we know right here this is 15, this is 7, this is 5, and this is 12, but we were not given these pieces of information. So first things first, we want to understand whether this is perimeter or this is area or circumference. So because we want to know the outer length, all the additions of these added up, this is going to be our perimeter formula. So we're just going to add up all the sides. So something we need to make sure we are understanding is that if this is 15, then that would be 15. This plus this would be 15. So that must mean this is 10. And that if this is 12 right here, and this is 7, then this must be 5. So what we're able to do is find the perimeter by adding up all those numbers. We end up getting a perimeter that is 54 feet. However, we want to make sure to answer the question, if it is $2.50 per foot, how much will it cost to enclose this pen? So we're going to go ahead and multiply by 250. And we're going to get $135 to enclose the pen. Okay? And that's all for that one. The next one, number 2 here, says a right triangle has a hypotenuse that measures 22 inches and one leg that measures 9 inches. So let's draw our triangle. We worked with this all last unit. Our right triangle, our hypotenuse is 22, and let's say our one leg is 9. Which of the following is the perimeter of the triangle? So we are, again, trying to add up all the sides, but we do not know this one. Very important that they told us this is a right triangle so that we're able to use our Pythagorean theorem in this case. We're not going to need to use trig because we were not given these angle measures, and we can definitely use Pythagorean theorem given two sides. So we're going to use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're going to go ahead and figure out what a would be by itself by subtracting over that 81. And then taking the, 03. And then taking the square root of 403. So we end up getting here that A is equal to 20.07. Now we just want to be careful. Sometimes they mislead us in multiple choice questions and we choose that. Luckily for us here, they don't have that as an option. But remember, that's this side. We want to know the perimeter, so we're going to add up all those sides. It's 07. And we get 51.07, which the 7 will round the 0 up to a 1, which would make it choice 3. Okay, and then number 3 here says the distance around a circular dance hall room is 135 feet. So the distance around something circular is also known as circumference, okay? And if you haven't learned this before, this is something neat. Cherry pie is delicious. Apple pies are too. So it's a really neat way of remembering your formulas. Right now we're not going to be using the area formula, so you're just going to want to remember cherry pie is delicious. And what that means is that the circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. So it's telling us that the dance hall, the circular distance, the circumference is 135 around, and it wants to know the longest distance across the circle, which is our diameter. This we have to be careful because sometimes they could always ask us for what's half of it, and that would be our radius. And we know that 2 of our radius added together equal our diameter. So that is another formula, our connection we want to make sure we remember. So all we're going to do here is divide away the pi. Since it's multiplication, we're going to undo that multiplication with division. We're going to grab our calculator, 135 divided by pi, and we end up getting about 42.97, which rounds up to 43 feet. Choice 4. Number 4 on the next side, the picture cut off a little bit, so please add this to your picture. So it says, in the following shape, 2 semicircles have been placed at the end of a rectangle whose length is twice its height. Which of the following gives the length around the figure in terms of the semicircle's radius? Okay, so we have 2 semicircles, and they've been placed at the end of each of the rectangles here. The length of this rectangle is twice the height, okay? So if the height is represented by r, that's 2 of them, then twice that would be 4r, okay? So that's what we should have there as our, labeling in our diagram. Okay, so now it says, which of the following gives the length around the figure in terms of the semicircle's radius? Well, first of all, we know that if this is 4r, then this is also 4r. And now we're going to go ahead and find the circumference here. So sometimes when we see, every time when we see a semicircle, we're going to take our circumference and cut it in half. But because we see another semicircle, the other one over here, we don't need to do that. So we're still using circumference equals pi d. And we want to remember that d is really 2 of these together, right? R plus r is 2 r's. So we really have 2r pi, so nothing else we can do with that. 2r pi is this distance and this distance, that's that, plus 4r, and 4r is 8r, which is choice 1. Okay, so they just wanted us to do a represent it in terms of r versus with specific numbers. Number 5 says, in right trapezoid A, B, C, D shown below, the dimensions of 3 sides in inches are shown. Which of the following represents the perimeter of A, B, C, D in inches? So we just want, again, the perimeter, which means the addition of all the sides. So our first step is we need to go ahead and figure out what this measurement is. Now, because this is not the same length as 4 as this other side, we can't assume this is 4. We have to actually solve to find it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to draw this other part of the rectangle so that we know that this is 4. And we know that if this whole length is 12 and this portion is 9, then this bottom piece must be 3. Okay? So that's what we want to do. If we have a shape where we do not have a formula for it, we want to kind of break it up into smaller shapes that we do have formulas for. So right here, so although we're not going to count this 4 in our perimeter, which is the addition of the outside legs, it is going to help us find this outside leg right here. So we're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's 9 plus 16 is going to give us a 25, and then the square root of 25 is 5. So we're going to grab 9, we're going to grab 5, 4, and 12. We're going to add them all up, and we're going to get an answer of 30. number 6 here says the shape shown consists of 3 sides of a rectangle together with a semicircle. Which of the following is closest to the perimeter of the shape? The dashed line is not a part of the perimeter. So basically we need to understand that the perimeter is going to be this distance plus this distance plus this distance, and then this distance we're going to get from our circumference, okay? So that dashed line is not part of the perimeter, but it is telling us our diameter, which is going to help us find this distance here. So this is where we have to, again, watch out because that's only a semicircle, okay? So this is the formula for a full circle. The circumference equals pi times the diameter, okay? But again, this is not a full circle, so we're going to have to divide that by 2. So 10 times pi divided by 2 is going to be about 15.71. And then we're going to take that, we're going to add it with the 3.4s from each piece and with that 10. So we're going to add all of those together. And we're going to get 32.51, which is going to be choice 4. Number 7 here says a rectangle pasture is to be fenced in with 3 strands of barbed wire. So think about when you see like a pasture and it's those 3 strands of barbed wire around all those posts to keep the animals in. You're not just going to have like one at the bottom or one at the top. You have the 3. So that's important piece of information. 3 strands of barbed wire have to go around the whole pasture. It says the pasture has 1 12-foot metal gate. So let's make our 12-foot metal gate right there. That's a 2, 1 and a 2. If the length of the pasture is 540 and the width is 380, how many feet of barbed wire will they need to fence in the pasture? So a couple things to note here. We have to figure out, we have to subtract out this 12 feet because we don't need barbed wire there. That's where our metal gate will be. So let's go ahead and do that first. We're going to take 540 and minus 12. So 540 minus that 12 is going to be 528. So that's the rest of this distance here, okay? So we're going to have 540 plus 528. Those are these 2 sides, plus the 380 twice. And let's see what that is. So 540 plus 528 plus 380 plus 380 is going to give us 1828. But remember, that's just once around. We want 3 strands of barbed wire, so we're going to times that by 3, and we're going to get 5,484 feet of barbed wire that we need. Number 8 here, the perimeter of rectangle ABCD is 46 feet. So it's telling us that all these sides added up together is 46 feet. It tells us that AB is 15. So if we know AB is 15, then this other side, D to C, is also 15. An important thing to remember is that in a rectangle, these sides are equal, and so are these sides. These will be equal to each other. So if we do 46 minus 15 minus 15, or really 46 minus 30, that's going to give us 16. So 46 minus 30 is going to give us 16, and that's going to be the remaining distance for these legs. So then we would divide that by 2 to get 8. And now why is that important? Well, we want the diagonal, and the only thing that we need in the diagonal, or the 2 things we need to find the diagonal, are the other 2 sides. So we need to use our Pythagorean theorem here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 8 squared plus 15 squared is going to be 289. And the square root of 289 is going to be 17. And that's going to be the length of BD. Number 9 here, an arched window has dimensions as shown. Consider the top of the window to be a semicircle. How much weather stripping is needed to surround the outer edge of the window? We're going to round to the nearest tenth of a foot. So as we discussed before, if this distance is 6, then this is also 6, or this measurement is 6, that's 6. If this is 3, then also we know the diameter of that semicircle is 3. So let's go ahead and find this circumference, that distance there. So circumference is equal to pi times the diameter, but remember this is a half of a circle. So we're going to do 3 times pi, and then we're going to divide it by 2, and we're going to get about 4.712. We're then going to add that with the other measurements, and we're going to get 19.712, but that 1 will not round the 7 up, and so that is how much we need to the nearest foot, or to the nearest, rounded to the nearest tenth of a foot, so tenth in feet. And number 10 here, it says find the perimeter for the figure below. So if this is 28, this is 28, this is 15, this is 15. This is the only piece we don't know, but we certainly know how to find it. We've done something similar to this before. So this is a right triangle, so we're going to use our Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 15 squared plus 8 squared is that 289 again, which we just did on the last page, which the square root was 13. So that's 13. And then we're going to go ahead and add up 13 plus this 8 plus this 28 plus this 15 plus this 28. So we're just going to add up all those together. We get 13 plus 8 plus 28 plus 15 plus the other 28 is 92. So 92 centimeters for the perimeter here. Okay, and the last question on the back is for you. So list examples in real life that use perimeter and circumference. Please make sure you're adding to this list not only the questions that we just did, the real life ones that we just went over, but also something that maybe you would see at home or outside in your everyday life. Okay? All right, as always, please make sure you go ahead and take a picture of your work and then upload it to the assignment and turn it in. Thanks, guys. Hope you're doing well. We'll see you later. Bye.